You should just not even like tell John and just like don't even walk into the crane and just like get
I
it.
think I'd probably get fired, but it would be a moment in musical theater history.
Cobra Kai.
Kidding.
Bonsai, I'm the Cobra Kai Kid, and today I am joined by Jake Bentley Young, who plays Johnny Lawrence, the ace degenerate.
Ex-degenerate.
Oh, sorry, man. The ex-degenerate Johnny Lawrence in the Karate Kid, the musical. How are you doing today, Jake?
I'm great, man. It's good to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you. I know we didn't have a chance to talk at the red carpet. There was so much going on, but
I know. And you got all those cool like shots of people looking cool in the interviews and stuff. I don't know how we didn't link up at that moment, but
I know, you know what? It was just crazy going on. A lot of crazy going on, but now we could talk. Now we could take our time. No rushing off the photos and all
right.
that.
There was someone like ushering us along that whole time too. They're like, you just talk to this person, this person, this person. So now we're chilling. Now we're chill.
How was that night for you? Was that like your first like world premiere, right?
Yeah, 100%. It was super overwhelming. I remember me and John and Jetta were backstage. Like you remember the whole red carpet situation?
Yeah.
Someone was like, okay, you guys can go. And we're like, how are we supposed to do this? Like, where do we walk? Who do we look at? And actually they're just like, yeah, you just got to stand, smile here and there and you'll figure it out. We talk to you, talk to the other people. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. But it was a surreal moment for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely an awesome day. And
Cool.
what was it like? Because I saw, I went to 4 shows when I was down there, and there was no show like that world premiere day. Like the crowd was electric. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, all the crowds we've had are so wonderful and generous, and it's dope. But you're right, and you were there. Like that night, I mean, wow, talk about feedback, like on every line. Like the little Cobra Kai Easter eggs and everything. All the hard work that went into the writing and stuff. That was, I mean, man, I'll never like I know it sounds so cliche, but I'll never forget that night. It was crazy, right? You have all the Cobra Kai fans, karate people who come in from all these states and everything. Yeah, and I imagine with an audience like New York, potentially one day, you're gonna have so many. You're an even greater like cacophony of people. Yeah, it's incredible what this show's been able to do, for sure.
Hopefully Ralph Macchio can come to the one in New York.
He'll be there. He knows. He sent us cookies and stuff. I don't know if you like. Yeah. He's very nice. He sent us a nice like note and stuff. And he's very aware of the show. So man, he's got to check it out. I think I like it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so I have to ask you, 2 very special people were in attendance at the musical on 2 separate days. We had Martin Kove, who plays John Kreese, and of course William Zabka. So let's start with Martin Kove. Did you get to speak to him?
Honestly, I did not. That man was a popular. I mean, we ended up incidentally like taking some pictures and stuff. And him and Alan, caught up. I saw them chatting before the show, after the show. But I mean, Marty Kove is a busy, wonderful man, very generous, like talking to us as a group, like super, super chill guy. I didn't chat with him much one-on-one, but yeah, I wanted to give him and Alan time to like, marinate their thoughts. It was cool to see them talk about it. And then after the show, me and Alan chatted about all the wonderful things Marty said about the show. Yeah, so it was crazy. I mean, that second he walked in the room, I was like, oh man, this is real. Like it's not, we're not screwing around here. Yeah, it's cool.
That's great. And of course, William Zabka, Johnny Lawrence. It happened. You met him.
And we were like, I don't know if this is gonna happen. Remember? And yeah, man. Look, they emailed me one day and they were like, can you come to the show early, wear a nice shirt or something? Billy Zabka's gonna come. And I was like, really? And yeah, it was like literally like 15 minutes before the show. We met for a second and talk about surreal, man. Like I'm sure when you meet these actors, but in person, it's just like, man, I've been seeing you all my life. This is so crazy. And I'll tell you, like the minute he walked in the room, he was the kindest guy in the world. Like so excited to see me Just like gave me a big hug. He was just so excited to see the show. Ended up loving the show, and he was like, I don't know, yeah, I can't say enough nice things. And I was gonna be cool with however he was, but it was surreal, man. He was so cool.
Did you have like I know you guys talked like was there anything like memorable that he said? Did he like maybe like did you guys talk about the character or the performance?
Yeah, I think the craziest thing he said, he was like, I mean, he was stunned to see the story. After the show, he talked to the entire cast, which is also super kind. Speaking about how he's never really grown tired of the material, how it's like the movie and the show and the property has like found its way into the hearts of so many people. And I think he was pretty emotional seeing it like put on the stage because it can evoke those crazy feelings. But so anyway, he loved the show overall. I think the craziest thing he said though, like within the first minute meeting him, he was like, all right, man, like I'm passing the torch to you. Like you're the new Johnny Lawrence. And I was like, I'm not the new Johnny Lawrence. You are the Johnny Lawrence. Like, that's very kind of you to say. Very nice. But I was like, no, man, you continue to be the Johnny Lawrence. And he was also like, whoa, we look like each other. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
It is kind of crazy how much you look like him when you have the red jacket and the headband on.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I do.
I'm glad. Yeah, it's a good fit, and the costumes they made here are so on point too. I mean, maybe in another world we'll get us like in the red jacket and the black headband together because, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What would you say your favorite costume is that you've worn?
That red jacket. That they've like put on it's a leather red jacket. It's beautiful. The Cobra Kai patches like sewn on it. It's all custom made. It's so cool. And they were in the beginning when we were kind of like workshopping the show, they're like, just wear the jacket when Johnny would wear it, take it off sometimes, we put it on sometimes. I think I wear it like 98%. And it's like, it's not the easiest thing to dance or move in, but it's so, but also those Cobra Kai gis are so well made because we're obviously dancing and kicking and all this crazy stuff. It's all cool. Yeah. They did a good job with it.
Yeah. I gotta ask you because Strike First, Strike Hard, No Mercy, like obviously like such a great number. And every time I saw it, you guys like I'm like genuinely terrified of you guys. Like all of you guys look like you're trying to kill everybody in the audience. Like you're just so like what's your mindset when you're performing that number? How do you get in that No Mercy mindset? Because it looks like that's who you are in that.
Yeah, that's good to hear because it is so exhausting. So I'm hoping every time we do it, we're giving 110%. Because all the feedback is like, man, that's the number, it just comes out of the gate and puts you in the world. I'd say part of it is Alan singing that song. He's just insane, so good at it. He hypes us up backstage right before the number and we're like, let's go. But also the orchestrations. I mean, it's a cacophony of everything, right? Like the lighting and that like sign and the guitars and everything. And then after doing it a few times, as soon as the lights go on and like the music comes on in that number and you land on like our knees and stuff, you're just like, you're on the roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in that intense mode for the next 3.5 minutes, it's just like, we're, giving it all we got. And our dance captain, like everyone in that number is constantly like keeping everyone on it. It's a collective energy. And we know that it's such a great number. It's so well written. Drew wrote it so well. It's you want to do it justice, it deserves that.
Yeah. Do you ever have trouble like maybe getting out of character? Like maybe like after the show, it's like someone says something you don't like, they mess up your order at Starbucks. Quiet.
I don't know. I think maybe not as hard of a time, but I don't think I do. But then Alan just told me the other day, he's like, man, as soon as you come off that tournament, and that's the big moment, he's like, you just like have this frenetic energy that like I can't be calmed down. I think probably after the show. That's such an intense scene, and we're falling on the ground and getting kicked in the face and stuff. I'm always the last one out of the dressing room because it takes me a while to chill a little bit. But I think as time has gone on, I mean, that first week, you know, like with that energy, the audiences you saw, it was still so new to all of us. So I was like, and you want to do it well. So you're really dropped into that Cobra Kai, Johnny Lawrence world. But now I think I'm more efficient at it. And you kind of have to be, because we do it 8 or 9 times a week. It's pretty exhausting. So you have to learn to balance the work with the life, you know?
Balance. Even Johnny Lawrence needs some balance.
You get it. That's the point of the show, man. Even Johnny Lawrence needed some balance.
Yeah, exactly, man. So I'm curious, like, how did you first fall in love with musical theater? Like, and what made you want to pursue it as a career?
I'm so glad you asked that. My dad's like an artist guy, a musician, former actor, and my older sister was always working in theater, like when I was a kid. And I just distinctly remember being like 8 or 9 and seeing her in maybe it was Annie or something like that. And for whatever reason, it's just like one of those things when we're young and we just like catch the magic of something. And I mean, this process has definitely I've been reflective of that whole time being young, and how that moment has kind of like carried me throughout time. So I started doing it myself. I loved it. I did it so many places growing up. It was all I did. It was the happiest I ever was working in theater. I mean, just, community theater. And the community and the people, like the people you've gotten to know, like these people. I just grew up through high school and continued to want to get better at it, and studied it in college, and just kept immersing myself in the community as you do, and I think however many years, like 17 years now, I've just been doing the same thing. I kind of just feel like a kid who just grew up into it. And of course you pick up other hobbies and skills along the way. And so now it's kind of found me at this point where I can take on this new martial arts hobby as well. It's a cool nothing lines or happens the way you think it's going to. And that certainly was the case with this project. And yet it feels so like meant to be, like just working in this way on an athletic show. That's so cool. Like, and again, I don't know if I told you this, but like I kind of grew up on Drew Gasparini music, like in
really
stuff. Yeah. Like as a teenager, at least. And looking up to Kate Baldwin, wow. Alan H. Green. These are the names that you like grow up in the theater world hearing. And now we're all doing a show together, we're all colleagues. So it's just kind of been my life in many ways. There's been a lot of other wonderful parts of my life, but this has been the through line ever since I was a kid. And it feels super special to just be here. And now, like, I'm talking to you, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool. I think I'm doing okay. Like, that's the short of it, but.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I watched your TED Talk. First of all, that's so awesome that you did a TED Talk.
I'm so glad you saw it.
Yeah, of course. And I think it was a great message. Do you want to just like talk a little bit about that? Like what it was about?
Yeah, it was in college, for maybe some sort of English credit. I took a honors class about discussing things in a TED Talk-ish way. And I think they said it was only like 20 people, and they were like, we're going to give our big final. It's going to be a mock TED Talk. And the top, prize or whatever will be, you can actually do a TED Talk at this TED conference that's coming up in November. And I think at that point in college, I was like, I'm going to have to do something I really feel passionately about, or else, I'm never going to get through this assignment. So I landed on something that's kind of been another through line in my life, which is masculinity, toxic masculinity, being a masculine artist, and how all of these ideas combine to create, a potential, it's a wide a wide swath of things, but, you know, creating a culture of proud masculine artists. And so I think I was like 19 or 20 when I gave the talk. So it was, you know, a handful of years ago. But at the time, I think it was just in that growing up stage, and it felt very poignant at the time, at that point in my life, to discuss kind of my life growing up in theater and finding identity and feeling proud about who I was. And more importantly, how that can like connect in a wider world where there's a lot of prejudices and where a person like me carries a lot of privilege, how I can use what I have to contribute to a better world. So that's the skinny of it. I encourage people to check it out if they want to. You know, it was a few years ago, but yeah, it definitely felt like a important thing for me to do, at least to get my ideas about wherever I was in my life about this, and kind of, and I think people reflected well with it, because I've gotten so many nice messages about it over the years too. So yeah, it was a lovely experience. I can't believe I did a TED Talk. That's super weird still to say. Sometimes, because you know how people are like, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Sometimes I'm like, I will talk about this and in no like braggadocious way, I'm like, actually I have a TED Talk on this. If you want to watch it, it's this kind of my brain. Anyway, so yeah, it's cool.
That's amazing. And I'll link it in the description. So if anybody wants to check it out, you can go check it out. But yeah, I resonated with that a lot too, because, you know, I've always been quote unquote not like the other kids in my class. Like, you know, ever since I was in kindergarten, I was singing High School Musical, wearing the Troy Bolton costume. And, you know, it over time, like, I still love that. I never really grew out of that, but I kind of, you know, like, I played basketball too. I know you played some sports, and it kind of got to a point where I like just showed the basketball sporty side, hid the musical theater acting side, but really I love that so much. And yeah, so I resonated with that. I thought it was great.
I'm glad, honestly, to hear you say that, because that's not that far from my experience too. And I think it's all about just like being able to embrace both these sides regardless of what people think, because I was just talking to someone in the cast about this last night. That's the beautiful part of life, right? Is like when we can, people sense when you're sure of who you are. And that comes from accepting the things you like, the things you don't like, being okay that there can be a mashup of things, you know what I mean? And just having the confidence to like be who you are and do the things you like to do and be comfortable in who you are. People notice it, you know, and that's how you live a happy life, I would like to think. But yeah, I could talk for days about this, but you know, I'm glad to hear you feel the same.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to ask you, you said it was third grade that you did was it third grade? You did a show, and like the kids, like, you were dancing, and they were like your friends, quote unquote friends, were making fun of you, right? And then like, is that like what made you like want to kind of like hide that side or kind of feel embarrassed?
Yeah, I think that might have been the catalyst for it, for sure. Like, you know how we have those like memories of like ourselves weirdly when we're 8 or 9, and it's super cringy and we can't get it out of our head. You just remember not even the exact events, but you remember how you feel. That was the when I was like, whatever the situation was, like I was on stage and friends from school came and saw the show, and I was like, you know, face full of makeup, craziest clothes in the world. To me, it seemed like cool, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And then the people you want to impress the most, of course, you're a kid, but that everything means the world to you when you're a kid, are the ones who are like laughing about the whole thing. So of course, as a young man, you want to like, you start to subconsciously like hide all that sort of stuff. And then you kind of grow up becoming a like plastic version of yourself. And then you have to eventually learn to like take all of that off. I would say that's probably one of the, it must have been, because that's the like one of the core memories I have of doing theater as a young kid. Yeah, but I mean, you know, it all landed us here, so
Yeah,
it's all about growing up, you know.
yeah. What was the moment where you like kind of, I don't know if, like, do you remember the moment where you realized like, you know what, this is who I am. I'm not afraid to show that. Like what do you remember that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there was one specific moment. I think getting out of my like smaller high school community and like I'm from California and I moved to Texas to study theater. And I would say, I mean, just getting enveloped in that world in a more professional sense, like just being around other, you know, like-minded people with so many diverse backgrounds in a space, like, you know, going off to college just to take that on, make that a part of my identity. That was probably a big moment. Also in the talk, I talk about this group of guys that I met when I was maybe a freshman in high school who kind of blended all of my hobbies and my worlds together. That was a huge core part of my finding myself, I guess. Yeah, I don't even know if there's one specific time or something. It's kind of a process of unlearning bad habits. You know what I mean? And and it's a slow process of taking example from guys you admire, humans you admire, and just trying to be a little bit more authentic every day. You know?
Yeah. So how did you land the role of Johnny in the musical?
Yeah, let me think here. It was the pandemic was happening. I graduated college in May of 2020, which is that, you know, tough little time. And took some time off and traveled a little bit, and then got my job back that I was working at a theater in Indiana, and was just like, all right, it's now or never. I'm going to, you know, submit to all the things I can to try to get a foothold on this very, very difficult industry. So in my spare time in between shows that I was working on in the Midwest, I would like look online, what's going on, just kind of like casting a wide net. And then just randomly on this website, they were looking for a Johnny Lawrence in the Karate Kid musical workshop. And I was like, oh, I know this movie. I know this. I can play the bad guy. I've done this before. And kind of off the cuff, didn't even really think that hard about it. Learned the song in like, you know, an hour or something, threw it together, and then just kept getting called back for it. So they kept asking me to send in more things for it, and I was like, oh man, I gotta do my research on this and actually, you know, do the best I can at this. And then I had a Zoom call back at one point, and then I moved to New York because I was going to move there anyway, and then had the final callback for that with all the people you know and I know, like 3 days afterwards in New York, which is super. I mean, it's a high, you know, it's a crazy environment. But just kind of went in, and I felt very confident about it. Like it was material I could do well. I thought I played it well and everything, which is not always the case. Yeah, and I did it. Felt great about it. And then like a week later, they called me and told me I got the job. And then I did the workshop, and I've just stayed with the show since then. That's a
awesome.
Dream. Yeah, it's awesome. I still can't believe it.
What song did you audition with?
New Best Friend.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, the second act. I think that's what it was. It's changed. Everything's changed over the many months and the years it's been in development. But I think that was it. And read a little bit. Yeah, it wasn't too much material. I think the casting office, who's incredible, did very good work on how they cast the show. So it was very efficient. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have always said. I said, like, you know, the thing that makes this show so special is the cast. Like the cast is key in this, like, because I mean, we already know this story, you know, the cast is essential, and you guys just all of you guys are incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've worked in so many places where there's some, like, you know, egos in the room, or, you know, different personalities that don't quite blend. I'm not just saying it. Like, this is such a incredibly special group of people. Everyone's kind. Everyone shows up ready to work. Everyone believes in the show. Everyone loves the material. And to that, I honestly give credit to Tara Rubin and Xavier Rubiano, who cast the show, who spent a lot of time looking. I mean, their work is just incredible. The way they find this cast and fine tune it. Yeah, we lucked out for sure. And I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave these people. You know, they're the best.
Yeah. So, yeah, what do you do? Because if it does go to Broadway, hoping it does, that would be like you'd have some time off. So what do you do? Do you have any plans for like that time in between?
There's a few things here and there. And again, the interesting thing about making a musical for Broadway is it's such a big endeavor. There's so much work that can be done. So a lot could change in between now and whenever that might be, including like the music could change, the cast could change. We just focus on doing justice to this version of the show for now, which kind of actually takes a little bit of weight off your back, because you're just like, oh, I'm just, this is the job right now. But in terms of the in-between, there's a lot that I'm new to. So I'm kind of just, to be honest with you, establishing my life. I'm from the West Coast, so living in New York's been a huge change, but I kind of love just, spending time there. I got a few like little concerts and like gigs coming up, but not too much. I think it's going to be nice to have a little bit of time to decompress after this in a positive way, and kind of like reflect on it all and rest my knees a little bit. And and that's the interesting thing about theater, man. It moves fast, and it's always unexpected, and something comes out of left field. So we'll see what happens. But I got some exciting things coming up that will be announced.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure. Are you and Jetta gonna be at 54 below on July 25th, right?
Yes, come on. Yes.
I'll see you there.
Are you gonna be there?
I'm gonna be there.
You're guy. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you're gonna love it. I don't know how well you know 54 Below, but it's like very well known like cabaret spot in the city. It's super cool. Drew's a star everywhere, but he's certainly a star at 54 Below. And I can't believe I'm doing it. I can't believe I'm doing it. Me and Jetta both. It's gonna be cool. It's fun. It's classy. The music's great. It's gonna be great.
And are you gonna be like covering like Drew songs? Like,
yeah, I think we're doing some Drew songs. I think he has a handful of people coming in. He's had such an illustrious career in many ways, but a small part of that has been he's got such a 54 Below like show fan base. I mean, everyone loves Drew Gasparini, but certainly here. So I think because he's just like such a busy dude, this is like maybe his last 54 Below show, at least for the foreseeable future. So it's kind of a collective of like all the material he's done over the years, like the hits and stuff. So for the classic, the OG Drew Gasparini fans, they're gonna love what comes out of it for sure.
That's so awesome. I'm excited for that. That'd be great.
I'm so glad you're gonna be there.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I was gonna when he announced that I was gonna go, and then I heard you and Jetta were going. I'm like, even better.
Even better. I can't believe Jetta's going too. I think she's working nearby or something, but it's great. I'm gonna miss Jetta because she's also very, working all the time, all over the place. So yeah, it'll be nice, a little reunion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So like, talk to me about like, you act, you sing, you dance, you play instruments. Like, can you just talk about like, having like all these different interests, like how you balance it all, and like, are you into like maybe the behind the scenes stuff? Like, have you ever like dabbled in like directing, writing? Like, talk about all of those different things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think I still wake up every day, and I don't think I balance it all well because there's so many different things you got to do. I've also kind of come up as a bit of a writer, a bit of a composer as well, like because of people like Drew, like that's kind of been an offshoot of the other work I do. So that's certainly a thing. But I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was like super into Shakespeare and weird stuff like that. So that's kind of always been my first love. It's a hard thing to balance, I'll tell you. And then when the all the theater stuff, not so much the backstage stuff, although I studied it a lot in college, and I'm glad I did, because you get such an idea of, it really is such a collaborative thing. I mean, the actors are only a very, very small part of this huge, crazy puzzle. It's like the most athletic, most technically advanced, and the most collaborative art form you can imagine is musical theater. And that includes like the actors, like you said, like doing all these crazy different things. So when I get burned out of all of that, or when I need a little break, I've picked up a lot of crazy little hobbies on the side, especially being here in St. Louis, having whenever I have downtime, like we'll go like hiking, you know, kayaking and all this stuff. That's an essential part of being a good actor, I think, is really expanding. You know, I don't like cooking, but I'm really trying. I'm not going to show you the mess of dishes behind me because you're going to never talk to me again. But yeah, just kind of adding life skills to your repertoire, especially things I'm bad at, trying to get better at it, informs all the work all the time, like all the theater work as well in little ways. Just kind of expanding beyond just saying the words, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I know you have a YouTube channel. I know you haven't posted on there in a while.
To be honest, that's funny you even say that because I didn't even know I really did. Like, I think it's just more of like a place to like put random little like submissions for things and stuff. But I think after doing this process, I'm gonna dust it off and I'm gonna catch up to the Cobra Kai kid. That would take years, but yeah, I literally I don't even know entirely what's on there. I gotta brush it up for sure.
I mean, I listened to some of those songs. They're like you play a lot of instruments. You know how to like edit the songs together. You have a great voice. I mean, I think you should.
Okay, maybe I will. It was like pandemic time. Me and my brother and stuff. We would just collab on. My brother's an actor and he's incredible, and he's like a music producer. That's his thing as well. He's a brilliant like producer musician dude. So that was kind of like our little collab. Yeah, I it's good that you're saying this because I'm like, I want to make space for that sort of thing as well and not get too wrapped up in being an actor all the time because there's so many other things I like. Yeah. Okay, Dan, I'm doing it.
Yes, I inspired it.
You inspired it, man. I'm giving you 10% of the profits.
Awesome. I'm excited for the Jake Bentley Young YouTube channel.
It's gonna come out. I'm gonna need to take some pointers from you, but we'll talk.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You can talk to my agent.
Likewise. Yes.
Okay. So, I did see on there you have some original music. So, do you write songs? Like, do you write your own songs often?
Yeah, like I said, it was I think a lot in college. I wrote a musical. I just things for fun. It's just always been something I was so curious about. And I think in the recent years, not so much, just because trying to get like a new life off the ground and adapting to a new city and stuff. But I'll tell you, like being around, working on this show specifically, it's a new musical, right? So there's new songs being written all the time. The actors I work with are also dancers who are always creating. And I think I'm like realizing like that's something I want to get back in touch with, especially when this run ends for sure. Because the truth is in the past maybe year or two, I haven't done that as much. But it was, you know, something I was doing. Me and Drew Gasparini again did a little live stream concert last year, I believe. Yeah. Of original songs that I wrote, and people responded well to it. So I think I'm gonna have to get back after that. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, maybe we should. But that has always been like again, growing up in theater, I was always I wasn't even really trained at the piano. I would take days like printing out sheet music and learning everything note by note, you know, like not the way you're supposed to, until I could play these complex songs and impress my friends. But more so like kind of understanding how a musician thinks. That's kind of how I learned. And yeah, I'm gonna get back after it, honestly. You've inspired me again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see it in your eyes. I see you like, okay, like
I know, man. I know. Especially when you're hearing such cool new music being written all the time. I'm like, wait, I got some of these in my brain as well. Again, my dad's he does so many things, but he's an artist and he's in a band, and he's always writing music. So I know it's like in the DNA somewhere, you know what I mean? I just got to bust it out.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's funny because the one thing that I've always wanted to do is like I write my own music, and I'm like I've always wanted to record one of my songs with like a bunch of instruments and make a music video. That's my one goal. And I watched Jetta's, like, she did a couple music videos which were amazing. I'm like, I gotta do that. I gotta do it.
Yeah. She told me one time, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but we were talking about it. She's a brilliant writer. And she said she writes music with the music video in mind. I think I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but she's like I almost don't even write a song until I can like see what the music video is going to be. Wow. That's how her like visual artist brain works. And I was like, that's brilliant. That's crazy, right? And she makes these really, really cool professional content. It's really cool. So yeah, everyone works in a different way. It's interesting. But that's what I'm saying. You could do it it's just about breaking, having the fun artistic side of it and then breaking down, you have a very, successful platform and everything. It's all about just like breaking down how to achieve, the business elements of things. Like, how do I produce this? How do I write this? Yeah. You can see in my eyes. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get after it for real.
Like as soon as this interview ends, like right away you're on the channel.
Thank you, Cobra Kai. You inspired me today.
No, for real though. Let me know if you like.
Yeah, I will.
If you wanna like, yeah. I mean, I know you like you. Yeah. If you need anything, like whatever.
Yeah. I'll hit you up for sure.
Definitely, I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
so I also want to talk about like the character of Johnny in the musical, because in the musical he's similar, but you got more like substance with him, and like once again, having seen the show 4 times, I pick up on like all the little things,
right?
And there's like one moment in particular that I'm like, every time I'm like that one moment is just freaking gold, and it's so simple. It's literally you doing nothing, like kind of. So it's the locker room scene, and where like like your friends are like, oh, Allie just went right to Daniel, and then you're like, quiet, like all that, and then after they leave, you're just sitting there with the flowers in your hand, and you just like, like, and it stays on you for like 5 seconds, and it's just you just sitting there like thinking. It's like I love that. Like, can you talk about like those little moments, like what's going through Johnny's mind in those moments?
Yeah, I think that's another thing that's so incredible about the musical, and that Robert did so well about this show, is that it's not the movie, and we get to explore it all a little bit more. And I think the general feedback has been that those moments, when we first saw it on paper, we're like, are we giving Johnny like an empathy moment here? Like, what is the, and that also, but I think that's kind of what makes the character so interesting, and the bad guy element so much more interesting than just being this archetypal villain guy, right? Like when we see and it also, like, you think about like even things like the TED Talk, like, oh my gosh, this is what it's all about, right? Like that, having this underbelly of unexpressed emotion towards this person. What we talk a lot about when working on the show is like, this character really loves Allie Mills, right? And the reason he does the bad things he does is for love, in a sense. You know what I mean? It's a very complex thing. So I'm glad you like that moment, because it feels very uncomfortable, and that's why it's good, because this whole time he's just been screwing with everyone, and then you see for a brief moment he's actually kind of broken up about this and doesn't really know where to put the feels, and that's kind of and he expresses it in the form of like anger and rage, but what it really boils down to is like the thing that makes us all human, which is kind of like love and loss. And he's kind of grieving the fact that, especially Allie's character develops a lot in the musical. She's growing up and moving on and taking complete agency in her life, as she should. But what gets left behind is a not quite a boy, not quite a man. It's Johnny Lawrence trying to grow up as well, and not really knowing how, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the little details like that just add to it.
Yeah.
So like, what's going through your mind in that moment, like in that locker room scene? Your head's in your hands. What are you thinking? Like, what's going through Jake's mind?
Yeah, like in the character's mind, because that is kind of where I'm at. It's this the moment changes every night. It's never the same. It's a I feel a mixture of like bubbling rage and like unexpressed sadness, you know. I'd say, because we were talking earlier about like, can you shed off this character? It's easier to shed off the angry ex-degenerate guy, you know. That's a harder moment to shed off, because he the next time we see him, he's going into battle. So yeah, it's a weird moment too, because it's a weird combo of like love and you know, the loss of love and like utter testosterone frustration. Yeah, it's a weird, but that's the crazy thing about theater, man. Like, no one says anything in the audience, and you can feel this wave of not necessarily empathy, but of like acknowledgement of the moment. I think that's why people end up not liking you don't like Johnny, but you kind of do. I mean, there wouldn't be a series about him if we didn't feel a little bad for him. Or yeah, because we see a little bit of humanity in him as well. I know that was a very theatrical answer to the.
No, I love it.
That's the meat and potatoes of it.
No, I love that. Like that one scene is like, or that one moment's like one of my favorite moments.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah. We toyed with it a lot working on it. The scene didn't even exist until really late into the process. It was added, and I think quite effectively. It's another thing, like, you know, Robert and Amon, they have a good vision of the entire thing. So yeah, I'm glad to know it's effective.
Yeah. So I like Miyagi though. I like Cobra Kai. I like all of it. But at the same time, like, I think it just naturally shows, like every time I'm watching the musical, when Cobra Kai comes out, when you walk out with Alan, it's just like there's just so it's like, I could say I like Miyagi and Cobra Kai, but I think there's just a natural, okay, like, you see my reaction every time Cobra Kai comes out. So like, you know, what is it like about like bringing that like Cobra Kai, like the badass side to life, working with Alan, like, because every time you come on stage, it's like the music drops. Like, what's that like?
Oh, it's the coolest thing in the world, honestly. And I knew it would be, and it just really gets cooler all the time. Like, you would think you get tired of doing this show all the time, physically tired perhaps, but that never gets old. Like, Cobra Kai carries such a history as well. But like this version, you know, it's not exactly the same. Like the Cobra Kai dojo is not exactly the same, but but yet it is, you know, like the colors are different. Everything's different. The energy is new. Like I said earlier, like the cast, like the people I work with who are just ready to go, like so crazy. The dancers, you know, like are wild. It's frenetic. Like it's a collective of everything together. And I don't take for granted how cool it is to walk on stage with that incredible like orchestrations, you know, all of that every time. And look, I even have my guy here.
Hey, I got mine back there.
That's what's up. I look a little crazy that I have this as well, but like, you know, there's a fandom, there's like a history, there's a acknowledgement of its importance culturally, you know, everything. So that helps the fact that it's badass, but it's also like, man, you look in the audience when we bow and there are people with Cobra Kai gear out the wazoo, you know, that's what it's about.
Yeah. What did you name your bear again?
Honestly, I thought I named it Martin.
That's what I named mine.
So maybe I'm just thinking, I don't know. My parents got this for me.
Oh, that's nice.
And then it's like, it comes with like a birth certificate. I think they officially named it Johnny.
Yeah.
Obviously. We're gonna have to do a little recon, a little research. I don't know. I call him the Cobra Cub now, but
the Cobra Cub.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I like, it's a funny musical too. Like there's a lot of funny jokes.
Yeah, it has to be, right? That's what you go for. You go to be entertained and scared and, you know, laugh, and that's what Alan brings. I could speak, you know, all day about Alan, but he brings that like levity to a really scary character who's got a lot of history, but it's funny too, right? Like it's got its moments. It has to. It's a little campy in ways. Yeah, that's the joy of the Karate Kid, right?
It definitely.
Yeah.
I'm curious when you're acting on stage. I'm sure everybody's different, but for you in particular, like when you're looking out at the audience, like performing a number, doing a scene, and you're looking out, like where do you look? Do you like have certain spots that you look at like each show? Do you mix it up? Do you look at people in the eye? Do you avoid eye contact? Like where do you look?
Honestly, that is a brilliant question. I don't look at anyone. No, I look at the lighting booth, to be honest with you, like peripherally. I think I'm kind of like dropped into the world mentally, but I never look at anyone. I just look at like there's a little bit of light coming from the lighting booth in the back of the house. I think I kind of generally fixate on a couple different points depending on where I'm at in the stage. Yeah, and it's not until the end of the show when we're like doing the bows and stuff that I actually like take a second to look at people's faces. It's easier for me to it's weird because it's easier to look at people on stage, but if I'm looking out, as we often do, it's just you kind of put yourself, after years of practice, you kind of just like put yourself in a different world. You know what I mean? You imagine it's something else. So I kind of not zone out, you're engaged, but zone out of the fact that we're in a proscenium theater, you know? It's weird.
That's interesting though.
Yeah, it's just a weird like art form. It never gets less weird. Like how strange it is that like, you know, sometimes I'll walk off stage and you're like, we're literally like playing different. It's a weird thing to do, but you got to commit to it and believe it and believe in it with your fellow actors. And then, man, people are there with you, you know, they're along for the ride.
Yeah, like I find it so interesting. It's like it's completely different than like acting for TV and movie where, you know, you just have to put all of it into that one scene. You're focusing on everyone like on in the cast, but then with this, like you're performing the same show multiple times in front of a live audience. You're getting different reactions. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like the acting work is not too much different depending on if you're on film or on stage, but for sure, like the technical work of it all is so different. I super prefer working in a theater because it's like a conversation between you know, every audience is different. They laugh at certain things you never really think about. So even though you're not acknowledging their presence, they're always important to acknowledge in a way. Like I know that seems oxymoronic, but that's, you know, we're there to play. It's called a play, right? We're just playing around, and it's a back and forth. It's a conversation. It's like a ball game.
Yeah,
and that's the fun of it.
Yeah. I'm curious. You know, during like all of your performances for the Karate Kid musical, you know, sometimes it's just inevitable. Some things might go wrong. You got so much going on. Was there ever a moment where something kind of went wrong? You had to maybe improvise or do something to kind of get out of the scene?
All this happens all the time, but like I know my castmates are gonna watch this and be like, forgot about this one time, because I think I'm sure something has, and it's definitely happened in like my career for sure. I'm trying to think if there's anything like totally detrimental. I think even if so, actually, yeah, because sometimes people will come off stage and people will be like, did you notice this happen or that happened? And to be honest, I'm just so focused on like doing the show. Sometimes it goes completely over my head, I'm realizing nowadays. But like, for instance, one day, like John's like, who plays Daniel, is at the moment where he's like, look at all these cars, and smacks the headlight and one of the headlights fall off. Like, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. And it's little moments like that. I hope I'm not exposing him. I'm trying really hard to think if there's something. Cross your fingers. I don't think it's happened to me yet. But even if it does, that's why people love to see theater, because things go wrong. You know?
Yeah.
I mean? And it's like a challenge to see how you get out of it. I'm sure something will happen. Run is over, and I will let you know when it does. But so far, only minor difficulties. Nothing too bad.
Yeah. How about like in your career? Is there like anything you can remember?
Yes. Got it. I worked at a theater in Indiana last summer, and I did this musical called Big, which is based off this other 80s movie, Big the Musical. Yes. Great show. And I worked with a wonderful actor named Alana, and we were doing this song. It's a very long scene, like 3 songs into each other, and it's a lot of just us on stage for like 20, 30 minutes. And I remember there was like a little bit of dialogue in between a song, and then my music starts to sing it, and I'm looking at her, and the music just plays, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to sing. So there's this illustrious orchestration that's like da na 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 na, and I'm looking at her for what feels like hours, like, and she's just like, and it doesn't sound that bad here. I hope there's a clip of it somewhere. But it was petrifying. I could not, the entire verse, I just stared at her and just kind of like looked off, and my friends were there that night. And let me tell you, that is a terrible moment.
Wow.
I think in a younger version of myself would have just beaten up on myself so badly, but I think afterwards it just left. I have no idea how I got out of it. But it can happen. And if you, for whatever reason, I think because that happened, it's why every scene I have, song I have, dance I have, fight I have in this show, my castmates will tell you, I run it and mark through it every single time beforehand backstage, because I never want that to happen, especially because in this show, if you forget a fight or you forget it becomes dangerous if you're not on it all the time. It's a higher risk show. So I think because that happened last summer, it doesn't sound that crazy, but it was wild. Like,
no, that sounds pretty bad.
Really, and once you forget a little part of it, you don't know how to get back in it. If you forget something, you forget it all. So that's why I'm like, fingers crossed, we're good with this show so far. But yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, you gotta let me know if something happens.
Yeah, I will. I think I'm doing okay, and then I'll let you know also if maybe I'm forgetting something too. Like I said, it goes over my head. I try to shake it off if it does happen, so I can focus on the rest of the show. But something always happens, right?
Yeah, but that's the fun of it, improv.
Oh yeah, and you got good people like Jetta and John and everyone, but they're especially good at staying super present in the show and stuff. So I know for a fact if I was like talking with one of them or something, we all got each other, right? We know the show backwards and forwards at this point, so it won't be too detrimental, I think.
Yeah, and if like Daniel says like why don't you just leave her alone and say like you forget your line, like you just know you have to say something like douchey, like get out of here.
Exactly. You know the character so well. I think there have been times where I'm doing 2 shows in a day and I'll walk on stage and my brain doesn't remember what I'm supposed to say because I'm just, for whatever reason, like dehydrated or something. But I know that it's happened so many times, it just comes out like the words or the dance, it's almost not all on autopilot, but your body knows where it's supposed to go. And then, so that's the beauty of doing a show so many times, I think, is that you know it, like, I think it's easier to, the show I did last summer, we rehearsed for like a week, it's that feels like improv. This one, it's like your body can take you there, the show.
Yeah. And speaking of doing the show so many times, like you really do the show so many times. How do you, like, 2 shows in one day, like sometimes you have 2 shows in one day, like they go late, you got to get there early. How do you balance all that? How do you stay energized? How do you get the energy for each show? And also like sleep, how do you, like, what's your sleep schedule looking like?
That's a great question. I focus a lot on nutrition. Like I make sure I'm carb loaded. I eat the right things. I think the biggest thing is sleeping. Like that's what I don't skimp on. Luckily the shows are at the earliest are at like 2 p.m. So I always get at least 8 hours of sleep. That's huge. And then I'm very lucky that like Stages gave me such a lovely apartment to stay in. So I consciously, like, I'll go do the show, socialize a lot there, but I will always come home. I started reading a lot. I'm a reader now, and I will, watch a little TV, read, and cook and do a lot of things. And on our days off, I'll do, like, I'm kind of an old lady. Like I'll just I'll go on walks. I'll spend a lot of time alone. And I kind of love that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's like time to reflect and chill. I give myself ample time to chill so that when I show up, you know, I got all the energy, I got the Gatorade, whatever it is. And I always can give 110% because I wouldn't want to leave anything behind. You don't want to do a show at 80%, right? Sometimes you have to be smart about the longevity of it all. We see a physical therapist too for all this crazy stuff. And you have to pace yourself, certainly, but it's a show that requires full engagement. So I spend a lot of time hermiting a lot of the other times, you know. But it's a great balance. It's balance, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It really is. Life imitates art, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say that because like the show is so intense, you know, like I think that's actually like really smart of you, you know, when you're not working on the show to take it easy, you know, like go on a walk, you know,
Yeah.
be by yourself, you know, like just so you're not always go, go, go.
Yeah, it's super important. But it's like I wish I could do this show forever, honestly, because it's such a great balance. You get such a workout in doing this show. You get to engage with so many brilliant actors, the people at the show afterwards who love the show. You get all of that, right? I get to socialize. We play around on stage every night, so it's always fun. It's always new. And then I come and really decompress for whatever, 12, 14 hours or more. Yeah, it's nice. And it's essential, honestly. It's essential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say has been like the biggest lesson and takeaway for you from working on this musical?
Man, you got the good questions, my friend.
Thank you.
Because I'm like, this is something I'll definitely be able to reflect on when the show is over for sure. But I think the biggest lesson, I'll start by saying I'm not just trying to be cliche. Like it really is balanced. And someone just brought this up a week ago where it actually hit me, where they're like, wait, working on this show is also the lesson of the show itself. It's like it really is finding balance. Yeah. It's an aggressive show and you get so much done. But I think in my like professional life, I've spent a lot of my waking hours not even having free time, focusing a lot on work and how I can be better. I'm very much like let's keep getting better at things every day. Working out, doing all this stuff. And I think doing this show has made me realize that you can put 100% into things when you're working on them and then leave the work at the door. And that's just the best way to get work done, whether it be podcasting or theater or whatever job or sport it is. It's like you show up, you stay engaged, and then you know when to take off, when I can take off the Johnny Lawrence jacket or whatever, to be metaphorical about it. And just engage with the things in life that are worth engaging in, that it's kind of Dead Poet Society, that make life worth living. I say that's the biggest lesson I've learned working on this show, especially because it's a new show and we're collaborating on it. And it does take up a lot of our time. That's what we sign up for. That's what we enjoy immersing in. But yeah, I think, and especially just in the past few days, as we kind of like wind down a little bit, we only have a couple more weeks. That it's balance, man. Like, I think that really is the lesson. So it doesn't hurt to get reminded of that every night when they sing it on stage,
Yeah. And that's what's so great talking to you. And like, I think like everyone, like it's great for everyone to hear, like, like they'll see you on stage performing, like you're doing your thing, putting like all of it out there. But then like, it's nice to hear like, you can't just be in that zone all the time. That's not you have to balance it out with other things. People are getting to know, like, it's not easy. It's really not easy.
It's not easy. Yeah. And you think you have such an incredible opportunity to work on this and everything. And I think when you come here and it's like you're out of the gate, you engage all the time. I'm listening to music all the time and stuff. But it really is, the beauty of it is in taking, the night off to like cook a meal or, read a book or, just like engage with the things that life's about, so you can come back to work and properly appreciate the wonderful show and what a blessing it is to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to ask, like, I mean, what is it like I'm sorry, but like, what's it like getting crane kicked in the face every night? Like,
and painful. No.
Like, don't you wish there was one night where like, can't they just change the script like for once?
You're reading my mind. The past 2 days, me and the Cobras are backstage. We're like, I think we're gonna win tonight. I don't know why. I think I'm gonna kick his ass tonight. I don't know why. Yeah, I do. No. It's a funny moment when me and Daniel are locking eyes, and I'm like, all right, this is gonna, it doesn't really hurt, but like you're kind of in the moment, so it's a pretty brutal, everyone knows what's gonna happen. You get really, really socked in the face. Yeah, but one of these nights, man, I'm gonna win. Yeah. I'm telling you.
I hope.
Third year in the row. I'm coming for it. You can't keep winning every night. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. 3 months training. No way.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
They got to make like a show with you because we saw what the crane kick did to Johnny and Cobra Kai. Like he relives that moment every day, and it was one moment. You're going through that every day. Like they got to make a show with you, like something like that.
Yeah, no, for real. Like some scientists can be like, what is the impact of this on the brain? Obviously, he's not really kicking me in the face every day, but in a way, he really is kicking me in the face every day. You know what I mean? Johnny Lawrence did it once. I mean, I'm doing this 8-9 times a week, my friend. Let's go. This is no joke.
It's like losing every basketball game, losing every whatever. Like
it's weird to go into it, like going into the fight, the tournament and stuff, and knowing I will lose 100%. It's like you're putting in all this effort. It's all choreographed. It's no surprise. It's what the work is, but it is weird to go and be like, I'm gonna lose so good tonight. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe one day. Oh my god, that would catch audiences way off guard.
We would have some angry emails.
I would be all for that.
Maybe one day the audience can vote who's gonna win. Johnny Lawrence.
You should just not even like tell John and just like don't even walk into the crane and just like get it.
I think I'd probably get fired, but it would be a moment in musical theater history.
Sure. It would be worth it.
Oh yeah. Say it happened.
Oh god, that's funny. So if you could play any other character other than Johnny, I know you love Johnny, but if you could play any other character, who would you play in the musical?
I gotta think about the principal cast, right? You
can play a girl or a guy, like
right.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know. I have to give one answer, right? I'm like, I think inside I felt like a Daniel many, like in my real life. I can present very like bro-y, but I think I could not sing this show like John Cardoza does. I mean, like it is, you saw it.
He's
like
amazing.
Beast. It is so hard to do, and we're so fortunate to have him because he is such a great actor and singer and everything. But if that wasn't the case, probably Daniel or maybe Lucille. I know that sounds weird, but she's got some great.
Yeah.
I mean, this Lucille and Kate Baldwin. My goodness, like she's got some great, tasty acting moments. You know what I mean? She goes on such a little journey there. I think I'd say Daniel or Lucille. That is the most embarrassing answer of all time.
No, I love that actually. I love that. Lucille's great.
She's great, and their dynamic in this show I think is so lovely. And I listen to the show all the time. It's always growing. It's always changing. This like mom and son not being able to quite find each other on their level. It's so cool. It's cool.
A great relationship. Yeah,
it's real.
Yeah.
You
really are Johnny Lawrence, because I think William Zabka was asked the same question. If you could play anyone else, who would you play? And he said Daniel. He said he wants the car dealership. He wants the family.
Oh yeah, I want the car dealership. I want the nice house, by the way. You've seen LaRusso's house. Yeah,
the wife, the kids.
Dojo, yeah. Like, oh my gosh. Meanwhile, he's got the crappy apartment and all that. Yeah, it's just interesting. I could talk for days about the whole world. What a world they've built. The whole Miyagi verse. It's wild.
Yeah. We'll have to talk. Maybe we could talk like we could do a stream or something, just talking Cobra Kai and Karate Kid, nerding out.
I've become such a. You'll probably out nerd me, but I've become a pretty big Cobra Kai nerd, to be honest with you. Now,
I love to hear that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
That'd be fun. We'll definitely do that. We can talk hours about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I do have one more question for you.
Yeah.
I think I might know what you're gonna say, but we'll see. I could always be surprised.
Okay.
If you could join any dojo, Cobra Kai, Miyagi-Do, or Eagle Fang, we'll put Eagle Fang in there. Which dojo would you join and why in real life?
I don't want to disappoint you with my answer though.
No, go be honest.
Oh man.
Actually, now I know what you're gonna say. Maybe
because you're like in real life, right?
In real life.
Oh man, I don't know. Like now I feel like I'm gonna disappoint you one way or another. Part of me wanted to say Eagle Fang for a second. You know how they learn, some of the students learn like to embrace the Cobra Kai and the Miyagi-Do.
Yeah.
Give me that. Or maybe just Miyagi-Do. I think the one
Traitor! I'm kidding.
What? Please don't. I'm going to get fired if this gets out. I'm kidding. Dude, I don't know. Not Cobra Kai, right? Like season 4 Cobra Kai. That's spooky.
You couldn't handle Terrence?
No, but but then part of me is like, let's go. Like,
yeah.
Can I say like season 1 Cobra Kai?
I love that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, I got to give you a good answer. And what defines Eagle Fang? I don't know. I think I'm maybe gonna say Miyagi-Do.
Miyagi-Do. I think what you were describing, Johnny and Daniel working together, right? Like Miyagi Fang.
Miyagi Fang. That's not Eagle Fang, right? I don't know. Maybe that combined. Like when you see like Sam, getting using it all, or Eli using it all, like give me that. I'm like so inspired. Like my inner child's like, let's go.
Yeah. I like that too. You're dabbling with all the aspects.
Yeah. Yeah.
Defense and offense.
Right. And it works so well.
Yeah. That's awesome. Dude, I could talk to you for hours.
Oh, dude, me as well.
Yeah. We'll have to do something another time.
Please,
yeah, man.
Please. I always enjoy talking to you, man.
Yeah. It was so great meeting you in St. Louis. Great talking to you now. And you just do an awesome job as Johnny. I love your performance. You bring the badassness.
Honestly, that is the highest compliment, because that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like my friends here will tell you, like, I'm kind of a softie in real life, but I want to do justice to it, and it's so fun to play him. Like such an honor to play him. So I'm glad you think so. I'm gonna keep it up.
Yeah, I even talking to you now, like you transform into like Johnny.
Yeah,
no mercy. I love it.
Got it.
Got it.
Fine tuning it every night, man. Me and Asidra, my buddy, in the shower, like, is it quick? He's like, quick. I'm gonna nail
it. That's great. I love that. And do you want to shout out like your social medias for everyone? Like where can they follow you?
Yeah, I think probably just the best place is at Jake Bentley Young on Instagram. Follow me. I'll update my life and we'll see where the show goes. Follow my life. See what's up. That's the way to do it. Also, JakeBentleyYoung.com is my website. Full name, Jake Bentley Young. That's the way to find me. Pretty easy.
And we're all looking forward to the YouTube channel.
Dude, it's coming. Now I'm not kidding. You have inspired me. I'll be hitting you up for tips. No joke.
I hope. Well,
Sweet.
Man, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you next time on Cobra Kai Kid. And until then, remember, Cobra Kai
never dies. Bonsai.